Hello and welcome to this video. So I have been thinking about doing this series for quite some time, and the main reason that I'm doing this is because I watched so many of these types of videos and it helped me a lot on my journey from veganism to not. So I thought first I would just start by sharing a little bit about my story about how I became vegan, and then we'll get down the rest of the path after. So I was just out of college. My sister had read a book, I think it was called Skinny, B-I-T-C-H. She joked inside the book that she gave it a title like that, even though that's not at all what the book was about. It was not about being skinny, but it was about a huge part of it, at least how I remember it, was stopping eating animals. And basically, after I read that book, I just decided I'm never eating meat again. Never. And so from there, I stopped. Basically, I think I still ate fish. So I ate fish and eggs still. So I got rid of all the other meat. And honestly, it wasn't that hard to get rid of because of what I read in that book. It was so, it just like hit you to your core, just about the injustice to animals, and then also just what the meat is doing inside of your body, that it was pretty easy for me to stop eating meat. And then pretty soon after that, I cut out fish and then cut out eggs. I already couldn't have dairy. My stomach just has not tolerated dairy since probably the middle of college. So dairy was super easy for me. So it didn't feel that hard for me to be vegan. I remember thinking at the time, why isn't everyone vegan? This is the healthiest way to be. I remember thinking, like, you don't have to eat that and have animals suffer. I've had all of those thoughts. So if you're going to tell me those things in the comments, I've already thought them. I thought them, however many months ago September is from now. What is it? Almost 6 months ago. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 8 months ago. 8 months ago is when I started eating meat again. So I know all those things. I love animals. I really thought that humans should sacrifice a little bit to allow animals to live. That's how I was coming at it, especially now in my mind. It's like there's so many alternative meats, there's alternative cheeses. There's no reason why anyone should be consuming animals or animal products. That was definitely where I was. I was that way for a long time. I went in and out. Once in a while, I'd have fish. Like if I was at my parents' house and they were cooking fish, sometimes I would eat it, sometimes I wouldn't. Once in a while, I would eat eggs. And then honestly, usually when I had fish or eggs, my stomach hurt. And so at some point, I was just like, I'm getting rid of those too. I went through 2 pregnancies, completely vegan, 2 births, completely vegan, post from that, vegan, which is crazy to me now, but so I did that for quite some time. I felt pretty good being vegan. My stomach did get bloated pretty regularly, but it was so normal to me that I almost didn't even know that my stomach was bloated. So I did have that, but for the most part, I felt pretty healthy. There weren't any big signs or reasons why I shouldn't be vegan. I thought I would do it the whole rest of my life. That's just what I had decided. I thought I was doing the best for the planet, the best for the animals, and the best for me. Until. So I have a spiritual mentor that I listen to what she says. Doesn't mean I follow through on everything, but I do listen to her and then check in for myself, how it feels. So, and I should probably back up a little bit in just saying that I have had people in the past tell me that there's no way to be fully healthy being vegan. I've had people say that. I did not give them a second thought. I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. You didn't learn anything in nutrition school, like in terms of doctors, which is probably true. But there was not one person that I was going to listen to unless you were thinking the same way as me. That's was my tunnel vision, and I was sure I was right. So then when this mentor just kind of casually almost mentioned in a random call that she was doing that it's really, 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 really hard to be fully healthy and vegan. And she had said, basically, if you're not counting, macros and micros or whatever they are, and not really doing some heavy supplementing, it's really hard for your body to receive everything it's meant to receive. And I'm like, I am a pretty simple person. I am not someone who is going to spend time calculating all of those things and figuring out what supplements I need. Through the years, yes, I've taken supplements, B12 and, vitamin D, or just like I took like a vegan prenatal when I was pregnant. So it's not that I've never supplemented, but I've never been the one that's going to like literally figure out everything and make sure I'm doing it right. So when she said that, I was like, could it be? Could she be right? And when she said that, that was September. So September, was it 2022? September 2022. Not great with dates. And I remember thinking, I need to check in on this. So for me, I was at a spot in my own spiritual journey where I'm pretty good now at checking in, either using my pendulum, using body testing, just connecting with higher self guides, whatever you want to say. Pretty good at it now. So I checked in. Obviously, I had to bypass my own human thoughts and ego because I was, like I said, I was doing this for the rest of my life. I was committed, happily committed. I wasn't even upset that I was vegan. So this is why it was such a blow. And I checked in, bypassed my own thoughts and resistance, and got like, yes, you're meant to eat meat. I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way this is the journey I'm going to take. Like, there's no way I'm going to ever eat meat again. Zero chance. And I checked in again. I asked my body specifically, what kinds of meat? Like, maybe you just want eggs. Or I was like, maybe I could see eating like one of my kids' fish sticks, because that didn't seem as real as like an animal. I was just trying to figure out like what could I actually do. And when I checked in my body, I got a yes literally for all the meats, all the eggs, fish, still no for dairy, but that's not surprising. Yeah, and so I was in a little bit of resistance to it for a few days. However, if you know me, once I get an answer from soul, source, higher self, whatever you want to call it, once I get that answer, I don't waste a lot of time disagreeing with it. Yes, I had resistance to it, but I also knew it was the right answer for my body, even though I didn't want to believe it at first. I totally understand too, if you're watching this and you're like not into the spiritual side of things, you're probably going to be like, cuckoo, whatever. But this is my journey, so sharing it with you. Okay, so basically after that, I said, okay, I need to go on YouTube and watch a million videos, which is why I'm making this for you, because it was so helpful. I probably watched like 50 videos of the like why I'm no longer vegan. And that was definitely helpful because I was able to see people's struggles. I was able to see their ethical struggles, but also a lot of them did have physical issues that were going on. When I did get a little more honest with myself, my teeth, this is one of the things that my mentor said, can start sort of disintegrating. Basically, a lot of people that are vegan for a long time, their body will start leaching calcium from their bones and their teeth. So my teeth had been like, when I would floss, like down in the middle, I would have little pieces of my teeth coming off. And I was like, sort of like just bypassing, not thinking that was anything, and then realizing like, oh, okay, this is a thing. So watched a ton of those videos. They talked, a lot of those people, which I will reiterate, talked a lot about, and my mentor, bioavailability, that it's really hard to get the nutrients we need directly from the plants, directly from the beans that we want to get all of our stuff from, where from the animal products, it's a lot more bioavailable and that we can absorb more of it. At first I was like, But then what I also realized, because I have been out of the like meat eating market for years, like, I don't know, was it like 17 years or something? I hadn't even thought about eating meat. I didn't know that there were certain things as grass-fed beef or grain-fed or whatever they're feeding it in like sort of normal agriculture. I didn't realize there was a difference. So once I realized there's also differences in meat, I was like, well, all the studies I've ever looked at, I don't think they ever look at grass-fed meat. They don't ever look at regenerative farming. So I started playing with the idea that maybe this is where I'm meant to go journey-wise, and that I'm meant to work through this, and my body, my physical body, will be happier because of it. I knew that. I received that answer, and I knew that. Even if I didn't want to believe it, I knew it was truth. And once you know something, you can't unknow it. Which is why I stopped eating meat in the first place. It was like once I knew something, but now there was new information that's coming in. And that's, I think, such a big part of growing, is realizing like something might be right for now, but when new information comes in, you need to look at that and see if you need to shift. And this was a time I could feel it. I was meant to shift. Yes, I was resistant to it, but I knew it was what was meant to happen. So I'm going to leave you with that for now. That was sort of my vegan journey. And then in the next video, I'm going to share how I went from vegan for 17 years to not. So feel free to leave any comments about your own journey. If you're going to leave comments that aren't going to be so nice, I'm going to understand, because I was where you are. I remember thinking all those things. So yeah, I will be nice to you, but I would rather you not leave the mean ones to me in the first place. But I do understand you. I get you. And I am just going to share the rest of my story in the next video.